Wonderful to be back in Logan. This is my third summit. I love them. I was away overseas for Beenleigh, so I missed out on that one, which is a bit of a shame because I used to be a resident in Logan. That's where I used to live, in Beenleigh. So I kind of know the town. And yes, as Lucinda said, I'm the traffic engineer. So, like, if this were a pantomime and I came in from the stage and I came out, you'd all go, boo, here's the traffic engineer. And if Jim was over there trying to talk and I'm sneaking up there going, look out, there's a traffic engineer behind you. Because we normally make a bit of a mess of things, don't we? And there's a reason we do that, and I'll get to that in a sec. The thing about these summits, I'm almost quite organised about what I'm going to say, but then I see the previous speakers and I get all excited and it turns into a bit of a mess. So you're just going to have to bear with me and we try and get through this together. Because some of the things that the speakers said earlier today really need some addressing. The Mayor talked about how Logan's previously tried to convince the market, look, we're not this, we're really not that, we're not that. We don't know what we are, but we're not what you think we are. And Logan's fallen for the trap of a lot of sort of non-capital cities that they fall into the trap to be in a race to the bottom. And you have to get yourself in the race to the top. Now, the reason we fell for this thing, a race to the bottom, is the big cities, all the people who could afford to move to downtown Melbourne or downtown Sydney because they were fantastic cities. And they are beautiful cities and they're wonderful places to live. And then so all the other cities are going, well, you come to my place because I've got more road space and you can park and there's no traffic congestion and the houses are cheap. That's a race to the bottom. People need to come to Logan, not because it's cheaper than Brisbane, because it's better. You have to get in that race to the top. The millennials are sick of Sydney and Melbourne, not because they're not fantastic places, because finally it's too expensive. But the outfall is binary. It's not going to get spread evenly around Australia and New Zealand. It's going to go to whoever's the best. They'll get all the money. So you've got to make sure that's you, but you're going to have to change some things. If you want to improve something, you're going to have to change it. And a lot of people don't like change. So you all, as community leaders, are going to have to stand up and say, I understand this change and I'm going to explain it to my community so we can move forward. If we're all stuck around bitching and arguing about this and that and the other, it's not going to work. The market wants Logan Central to get better. Well, there wouldn't be a property investor here who's saying, oh, I hope the value of my property goes down. That's not how it works, is it? Yeah. You think a market wants to go down? That's different. Cheaper houses is different to getting better, because cheaper houses sometimes does make the place better. Yeah, more people, more diverse people, then shops. Rent for shops goes up then. More people walking around, more people doing stuff. The market wants it to get better. We keep doing stuff to stop the market doing its thing. And most of that, unfortunately, is my fault. Traffic engineers. Yeah? Who would love to spend the afternoon sitting out by Wembley Road having a few beers or a glass of wine and having a chat with their friends? No way, it's disgusting, isn't it? Yeah? Who wants to spend time in a place like that? There's a lesson here. When I do my masterclass on street design, I put a slide up about this about 3 or 4 times. The nicer you make a place for the car, the less you will like it. No exceptions. Every time you tweak the green time so the traffic goes through a bit easier, we like it less. Every time you add a left turn slip lane so you don't have to queue up, we like it less. And if we don't like a place, how much time do we spend there? As little as we possible. If we spend a little amount of time in a place, how much money do we spend? A little bit. You've accidentally turned Logan Central into a great place if you're a machine, but not a very nice place if you're a human. So we've got to turn that around. Humans only have a good time here if they're inside the tin can. We've got no place for the fresh humans that are out of the tin can. So we've got to relearn the art of making streets for people instead of roads for machines. And it's not as easy as it looks. We've got the balance wrong. We're prioritising the machine and not the people. Very, very valuable community space. There's only kind of 2 things that happen in it. Either you're moving and storing machines or we're exchanging. And you heard Jim say before, the places where people do lots of exchange, where they meet and say hello, where you go and spend time, you meet people, you sit down, you gather. The more time you spend doing that, you live longer. Who likes spending time next to a freeway? Nobody. Every time it gets easier to drive a car around here, you're impacting the health of your community. They don't like it, they don't stick, stop, stay and spend. This is what you learn how to make streets. Not roads, streets. Streets are places to spend time. Roads, you've got to have them. That's how you get from Brisbane to Cairns, yeah, on a road. And you build them to save time, but you build streets to spend time. Yeah, roads, no one's going to sit beside that and have a cup of tea. They're not for communities. They do save time for a car, but in an urban environment, saving time in your car doesn't prosper. You don't prosper economically, you go backwards economically. Every time you improve your space for a car, you go backwards. But we're still left in urban environments, some of these damn things. You don't even know if it's a street or a road. Who wants to play cricket on that damn thing? Speed environment there, this looks like a racetrack. But of course we wouldn't build those in Logan, would we? Except they're everywhere, aren't they? Yeah? And not just Logan, they're everywhere. And it's a horrible place, and it should be a place to live in, not live on. We have this horrible thing about, I have to make a street like that, Steve, because it's much safer. Yeah, if that's so safe, where are all the 8-year-old kids riding a bike? It's only safe if you're in a car and you want to go fast. That's what we make them for. We've got to redress who we're making streets, places, villages, who we're making them safe for. We've got to make them safe for us. It's got to be an open invitation to say, get out of that damn machine and enjoy this beautiful space that I made for you. Not, look at this great place, you can drive as fast as you like through here. That's a big step change, but there's rewards to be done. We deal with safety on roads by keeping the vulnerable people, us, bike riders, pedestrians, people trying to get to the bus stop, we get them off. We stop them even crossing the road. Look, we put a fence down the middle. That's a horrible thing to do to a human. That's public space, and the only thing that can use it is a machine. It's a great place if you're in a car, but if you want to get out of the car and enjoy your community and meet your friends, you can't do it in this horrible space. Get out, this place is only for machines. We've got to stop doing that. Safety in streets should be for everyone. This is actually an official traffic sign. The cyclist can take the middle of the lane. Has anyone seen it up anywhere? Who does that riding their bike? Rides down the middle of the lane. Nice work, Lucinda. Anyone else brave enough? Nice. Not that many. Some of those prosperous millennial towns that you all hear the legendary stories about, Portland, Toronto, Seattle. In Portland, the green bit, you know, we poke it over towards the edge and squeeze in here and say, look, if you ride in this bit, you might live. Their green bit goes right down the middle of the lane. Right down the middle. So if you want to drive your car, you can't go any faster than the person riding their bike. That street is for people, it's not for machines. Jim alluded to it before. This point-to-point travel is slowly but surely killing us. It's not an accident that the cars that have the highest amount of the cities that have the highest amount of driving have the highest level of type 2 diabetes, have the highest level of obesity, and have the highest level of heart disease. If you don't make streets that people like walking in, they won't walk, and if they don't walk, they die young. Simple as that. Same thing. If you make your town for cars, your community, generally speaking, is not going to live as long. They won't meet, they won't greet, they won't walk. You have to have this overt invitation to get people out of their car. This is true. And it's so simple, but you've got to get down to because aside from this is part of the problem why I'm such a boring human. Not only am I an engineer, my second degree is in economics. Ooh, yuck. And this movement of cars is costing you. You're a post-war city, so all you ever built your city for was for cars. You've got a massively high percentage of trips by cars, and the cities that have the most trips by cars make the least money. So you have to do something about that. This is a big economic impost. Fortunately, someone already thought of this. There's heaps of these beautiful books from all around the world that you can get that tell you to reintroduce this lost art of making streets. Everyone knows how to build good roads. Engineers like me, we can build them till the cows come home. Just keep throwing bucket loads of money at us and we'll keep building them. That bit's easy. But the art of making streets, you have to be very clever. You have to make a delicious space that people just don't want to leave. An open invitation. Get out of your car, come and have some fun here. We'll look after you, not just you, your family, your children. Now, whereabouts in Logan Central am I getting that message? That wasn't a rhetorical question, you can tell me. Not as many as you'd like, yeah? Car dominated. Someone's tried to slow them down with those big platforms outside the rail station, which is actually a bad sign. We've got to get back this art form to make beautiful streets like that. Who likes that street? If you like them, then build them. It's pretty simple stuff. Who likes Wembley Road? Then change it. Yeah. It's not set in stone, it's stuff. Someone laid it down with a big truck and a big machine. Get another one and rip the bloody thing up if you don't like it. Now, there'll be traffic engineers who go, oh, for God's sake, Steve, don't do that. There's going to increase the delay from this to this and da-da-da. Bad luck. We want to take this place back for us. Who's been to Chapel Street in Melbourne? Yeah? Ouch. That hurts the wallet there, doesn't it? It moves 2 to 3 times as many people as Wembley Road. Is that 4 lanes? How do you cross Chapel Street? All over the place. You wander around like Brown's cows. Now, if you're in a car, it's a rotten place. You're snailed up in traffic, you get caught behind the tram, people pulling out of car parks, there's beeping horns. If you're in a car, it's terrible. But if you're a human, it's fantastic. And if you're a shopkeeper with all those wallets walking past, not driving past, all the wallets are walking past. So if you're a shopkeeper, my wallet's just here. You're back in the game now because I'm walking. I'm enjoying that space. Now, if I was going to build that street now, there would be a traffic engineer telling me that's got to be a minimum of 4 lanes, plus I've got to have a separate tram lane and I've got to have a parking lane. It'll be about 50 or 60 metres wide, but it's only 22. And it still moves, if you count the pedestrians, well over 100,000 movements a day. That's the type of place that people like, they'll go back to and they'll spend money. This is the reason why you're always going to struggle. People understand that the public transport is subsidised, yeah? So if you pay $1, we've all got to chip in about $1.50. It's nearly $2 in Australia. It's a bit less in New Zealand. Canada get a good fare box return, so theirs is quite low. But you've still got to subsidise it. But if you spend $1 driving, the rest of the community's got to pay $9. It is the most subsidised mode of all by a long way. So if you're all driving your car everywhere, the poor community's just shelling out so much money, it's hard to get money to build the good stuff. You're spending it all on this. It's got to stop. That open invitation. It's okay to use these spaces. Who wouldn't want to walk here? Who likes that street? Build one then. Yeah? Now, it's been going on in the background for a while. We've been asking people in Logan what they think of their community. And it's always the opposite to what people think, but it's always the same. No matter the size of the town, we always get the same results here. But people always say, particularly poor elected councillors, hands up. Right up, that doesn't count. They'll say, Steve, I know the most important thing, everyone's worried about traffic and parking, and you're another city where traffic and parking doesn't even come in the top 10 things you're worried about. It's one of the things that slightly irritates people. If I can't get a park, I bitch about it for a bit, and if I get caught in traffic... But when I get to a place, I've forgotten it. I want it to be clean and green and safe and active and vibrant and interesting. If you make a place like that, I'll walk over broken glass to get to 2 days for it. I don't care if I have to swap from the bus to the train to get here, and then I have to park miles away and walk in. That's part of the race to the top. No one comes back from their holiday in Vienna and says, Steve, I went to Vienna. I said, oh, what did you do? Oh, it was just great. There was level of service aid traffic everywhere, and I got to park everywhere I wanted to. Of course you don't say that. You talk about the wonderful people you met and the architecture and the food and how you walked around and met people randomly and they took you to this place and that place. That should be your town. But while you're filling up all your public space with asphalt, it's not going to happen for you. You have to get people back in the game. All the tiny little centres around Logan, still none of them have traffic in the top 10 of things that they care about. Place score. I won't go into the methodology of this. 56, not that good. Not that good, although we've done one for George Street in Sydney. Who's been to George Street in Sydney? Yeah, the main drag down there. That's only 61. My street where I live in Melbourne, Collins Street, 75. So you're not that far off the pace. You just got to make that a tiny bit more human, and this score is going to go through the roof, and you'll be able to compare. These are the things where your experience didn't match what you wanted. Things to do in the evening. Is that right? Yeah? Logan Central? What do you do in the evening? Go home. Yeah? Go to the entertainment centre. No outdoor dining, no outdoor eating. Now that's because you've got no street quality. Who wants to be out in that environment? Yeah? You have to reintroduce street quality so people like being there. And then all the others cascade from it. If no one else is there, you feel unsafe, don't you? Yeah? I'm doing some bus network planning in Darwin. They say, oh, I don't want to get on the bus in Darwin because there's always weirdos on the bus and I always feel a bit nervous. Who's caught the subway in New York? What about that street at night? Who would walk down there? I would. It's a beautiful street. Not a very expensive way to do that. Who wouldn't walk there? Intimate spaces that are green. You've got to let them get across the road and not just in an intersection. If I see something I want to buy over there, I don't want to have to walk all the way down there, press the button, wait for the green man and go back up there. I've forgotten what I wanted to buy by then. Crossing like Brown's cows is very, very important. Interesting things. Does anyone know what that is? It's a bubbler. So you get a drink from it. But it's interesting and it makes people stick, stop, stay and spend. People like having to sit down at a rest. Put in a good seat. Put in a Logan seat. One that if I see a photo of that, I know where that is. That's Logan Central. Be different, be interesting, be brave. Does anyone know what that is? Who said it? It's a bus stop. Butte bus stop, isn't it? You don't care how long you wait for the bus if you can have a swing. Grown-ups having a swing. Real grown-ups. Even more grown-up than me. This is a legal pedestrian crossing. It's allowed to look like that. A sense of interest, a sense of playfulness. This is the type of stuff Jim was talking about. He said, oh, and you will get a bit of this when you try and do something new and interesting. People say, oh, Steve, that's never going to work. This is not Sydney. This is never going to work here. I said, oh, it'll work. Look, just let me try it for a few months. I'll promise you it'll work. And so this community did this themselves. Same thing. Forgiveness, get that later. Don't ask for permission up front. And so they built this themselves and it worked beautifully. Not that I'm saying you should break the law, but I'm not saying that. This is one we did in South Hobart. This thing about obsession with parking, you've got to get over it because it's not as important as people think. I just finished doing 6 main streets in Hobart where the traders, off their own bat, figured out the best way to fix trade in my street is to get rid of all the curbside parking. That was their idea. And the reason they decided to do it was because they needed more space for humans. People zipping in, racing in the shop, jumping in their car and leaving again wasn't helping. They needed places for people to stick, stop, stay and spend. And that's what they have to do in Logan Central. They can't be jumping out of the train and then getting the hell out of Dodge or getting dropped off and racing into the thing and then leaving again. They need you to stay and enjoy the community space and run into each other and have that richest of all human experiences is to go into a shop in your community and say, "G'day Steve, how you going?" It's one of the most beautiful things that can happen to you. That doesn't happen at Westfield. That doesn't happen at Stockland. That only happens in your local streets. And the beauty of you shopping in your local streets is that 7 out of $10 stays in Logan. When you go to Stockland, you only get to keep 3. Is that 3? That's 3. So those main street shopping, people spending time in streets, economically, it's vital for you. If you want your kids to stay here and not nick off to Brisbane or Sydney, you have to get that right. Places for people to ride bikes. Not fit, lycra-clad, well, some of them aren't so fit, are they? Let's be honest. But yeah, not 30 kilometre an hour, 40 kilometre an hour bike riding, but your grade 5 kids riding to school by themselves. That's a successful, beautiful town. If you want them to do it, do stuff for them. I'd walk there. Green. It's beautiful. People will spend time there, and if they spend time there, they will spend money there. The situation that is out there now for a human is just not sustainable. No matter what you do, no matter what you invest, if that stays as a machine space, you'll just have beautiful buildings with still no people. You have to change that environment if you want people to stick, stop, stay, and spend. Yeah? It's pretty simple, but it's hard to actually do because you've got to do that thing that humans dislike possibly the most, is make some changes. So Wembley Road's a big long road, it goes for quite a long while, but you have to send a message, say, look, when you get to that bit you can go 60, and when you get to that bit you can go to 60, but our bit, you can't go that fast. This is our bit. If you're in a machine you can sneak through if you want, but this place is ours. This is Logan Central, and if you want to come and play with us, you have to behave. Thank you for listening to me.